Okay, now that we've established how to build a schedule using tools like the critical path method and milestones, we need to talk about how we lock that plan in place. This brings us to a critical concept, the schedule baseline. The title here calls it your stake in the ground, and that's the perfect way to think about it. So what is it? As the definition on the left states, the schedule baseline is the approved, official version of the project schedule. This isn't a draft or a what-if scenario. This is the version that has been reviewed, agreed upon, and formally signed off on by the key stakeholders. It contains the planned start and finish dates for every single activity, task, and milestone we've identified. Its most important function is to serve as the benchmark against which all future schedule performance is measured. Without this baseline, you have no objective way of knowing if you are ahead, behind, or on track. It's the line you draw in the sand, your stake in the ground. Now, if you look at the image on the right from the Master of Project Academy, it adds two crucial points. First, the baseline is an approved version of the schedule that can only be changed through formal change control procedures. This is key. The baseline is meant to be stable. If a change is necessary due to a scope change, for example, it has to go through a formal process. You can't just change it on a whim, as that would defeat its purpose as a benchmark. Second, it reinforces that the baseline is used as a basis for comparison to actual results. As we start executing the project, we will track our actual start and finish dates and compare them directly against the baseline plan. This comparison is what allows us to calculate schedule variance and take corrective action when needed. In short, establishing the schedule baseline is the final step of the planning phase. It formalizes our plan into an official benchmark that provides the stability and control needed to effectively manage the project's timeline from kickoff to completion. So we've established what a schedule baseline is. Now let's dig into why it's so critical. This isn't just a bureaucratic step. The baseline is a powerful tool, and its use is truly non-negotiable for any well-managed project. Let's look at 4 key reasons why. First, performance measurement. This is the most direct benefit. The baseline is the yardstick against which we measure everything. It's essential for calculating schedule variance and performance indicators. Without a fixed baseline, you can't objectively say if you're ahead of schedule, behind schedule, or on track. It turns subjective feelings about progress into concrete data. Second, the baseline is fundamental to change control. Projects are dynamic, and changes are often inevitable. The baseline provides a stable reference point for evaluating the impact of any proposed changes. When a stakeholder requests a change, you can analyze it against the baseline to determine exactly how it will affect the timeline, budget, and resources. This allows you to make informed decisions rather than guesses. Third, it drives accountability and communication. When the baseline is formally approved, it becomes a clear commitment for both the project team and the stakeholders. It sets clear expectations for who is delivering what and by when. This creates accountability. It also serves as the single source of truth for communication, ensuring everyone is working from the same plan and schedule. And finally, the baseline is crucial for forecasting. By comparing your actual performance against the baseline, you can make realistic predictions about the future. It forms the basis for answering critical questions like, based on our current pace, when will we actually finish? Or what is the new estimated completion date? This forward-looking analysis is impossible without a stable starting point. So as you can see, the baseline is much more than just a schedule. It's your tool for measurement, your anchor for managing change, your contract for accountability, and your crystal ball for forecasting. It is the very foundation of project control.
We've covered the what and why of the schedule baseline. Now let's get practical and discuss the how. This slide, Setting in Stone, walks us through the process of formally establishing the baseline and the rules for maintaining its integrity throughout the project. First, let's look at how to establish the baseline. It's a clear 3-step process. Step 1. Finalize the schedule. This means all your planning work is done. Your tasks are defined, dependencies are mapped, durations are estimated, and you have a complete schedule you're confident in. Step 2. Get formal stakeholder approval. This is the official sign-off. You present the finalized schedule to the project sponsor, client, or other key stakeholders. Their approval turns the schedule from a draft into a formal commitment. Step 3. Officially save and publish the baseline. Once approved, you lock it in. In your project management software, you'll use a function like Set Baseline. This saves a protected copy of the schedule that can't be easily changed. You then communicate this official baseline to the entire team. Once the baseline is set, we need to manage it. This brings us to version control. It's very likely that your project will undergo some approved changes. When a significant change forces you to update your baseline, a process we'll discuss next, you don't just overwrite the old one. You save a new version. Keeping a record of baseline versions, baseline 1, baseline 2, etc., is crucial. It provides a historical record of the project's evolution and allows you to track the cumulative impact of changes over time. This leads us to the very important topic of rebaselining. Rebaselining is the formal process of updating your baseline in the middle of a project. But, and this is the most important point, it should be a rare event. You only rebaseline for significant approved scope changes. For example, if a client adds a major new feature set, the original baseline is no longer a realistic measure of success. In that case, you would formally create a new baseline for the remaining work. What you absolutely do not do is rebaseline to hide poor performance. If the project is behind schedule due to missed deadlines or inefficiencies, changing the baseline to make the numbers look good is unethical and counterproductive. It erases valuable learning opportunities and destroys accountability. In summary, establishing a baseline is a deliberate, formal process, and maintaining it requires discipline. By following these rules for version control and rebaselining, you ensure that your stake in the ground remains a true and reliable benchmark for project success.
Okay, let's take a moment to recap the essential points about the schedule baseline. This is a concept that underpins all of our schedule control efforts, so it's crucial we have these key takeaways clear in our minds. First and foremost, the baseline is the approved schedule. This is the official, signed-off version that acts as your project's benchmark for all time-related measurement. It's not a draft, it's the plan of record. Because it's the official plan, it is vital for performance tracking. This is the yardstick we use to measure our progress. By comparing our actual work against the baseline, we can calculate schedule variance and objectively determine if we are on time, ahead, or falling behind. Next, the baseline is the cornerstone of effective change control. When a change is proposed, we don't evaluate it in a vacuum. We assess its impact against the stable baseline. This allows us to show stakeholders exactly how a change will affect the timeline, which is critical for making informed decisions. The baseline also drives clear accountability. Once it's approved, it represents a formal commitment between the project team and the stakeholders. Everyone understands the expectations and their responsibilities for meeting the planned dates. And finally, the baseline enables realistic forecasting. It's not just about looking at the past. By analyzing our performance against the baseline, we can make educated predictions about future performance and forecast our final completion date with much greater accuracy. So, to put it all together, the schedule baseline is the approved plan that allows us to track performance, control change, ensure accountability, and forecast future outcomes. It is the single most important tool for maintaining control over your project's timeline.